Hey everybody, welcome to Two Comic Book Dudes. This is we're kind of changing things up on you.
Changing it up.
With Walking Dead being kind of how we started. We were doing TCBD Dead Talk, but with some other shows on the horizon here, we're going to start doing some other TV reviews. And so we thought we would change the name. We had talked about just doing TV talk, but then I went ahead and put the CB, so comic booked CB TV talk. So is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Let us know if you have a better name. Leave it in the comments, and maybe you'll win something. I have stuff that I can give away, so I still have some Blu-rays and some free comics and all kinds of stuff. So
Me too. I have like a lot of free comics I could give away.
Yeah, cool. All right, so tonight we are covering episode 5 of Into the Badlands, season 1. And this episode's called Snake Creeps Down. Again, another martial arts move, Tai Chi. Snake creeps down. I don't know what. Maybe it's like one of those dance moves or something. But
yes,
a lot of stuff happens in this episode. Again, we've got several little storylines going on, several little intrigues happening. We know Ryder has his own little plan where he's working with the widow and basically trying to take over the Quinn's barony right now with the poppies and everything. Last episode, the widow came in and took all the cogs, so now Quinn has nobody to work the fields. Really bad because it's about time for the harvest, and who's going to take care of the poppies? So then we've got MK.
Need the opium.
Hey, it makes the world go round.
That's right.
Really slowly.
Taste the dragon.
We've got Quinn. Well, we got Sonny and MK. MK's his cult now, and so Sonny's doing some training. So we kick this episode off with some training up on the wall, right? Just to beat each other up and see who's tougher, whatever. Right up until the time when MK goes raw and throws him off the wall. So yeah. I was like, "Whoa, what happened there?" And then he wakes up. So it's nice to start the episode off with a little dream sequence, but it does show the fear that Sonny has that MK won't be able to control himself and that Sonny won't be able to help him control himself. So, and that definitely plays through this episode. I think there's a lot of that fear, lack of control for everybody's sake in this episode. So right off the bat, we have Sonny trying to figure out about the book, and he's got the book, so he opens it up, and there's a indentation cut inside of the book, and his compass fits in there, which I thought was really cool. Mm-hmm. So he puts that compass in there, it starts spinning and spinning and spinning. And he's like, "That's it's never worked before, but it works when it's in that book."
Right.
So there's definitely a connection now between MK and Sonny that's deeper than we've known. So it's interesting. What else? Oh, so he tells Vale about basically about that he went and talked to Jacoby or to the River King, mm-hmm. and that the price is steep for escape. Right. He's definitely still contemplating trading MK for escape, but I'm not sure that he really feels like that's an option because he vowed to help MK escape and then MK help him escape. So. I don't know. The next morning, they're heading out to get the widow, basically. Mm-hmm. So,
mark down.
Yeah, at this point, the widow's taking all of Quinn's cogs, so she's talking to them and basically telling them, offering them freedom if they work for her, right?
Right.
In the meantime, Quinn is trying to figure out what he's going to do now that there are no cogs to do the work. And so right after Ryder and MK have a little face-to-face, where MK, of course, asks for his amulet back, and Ryder tells him he doesn't know what he's talking about, and that he traded it or something. Mm-hmm. Jade basically asks Quinn to give her some of the clippers. Of course, you got this big clipper army. Why not use some of them to at least, like she calls it, bridge until they can get more cogs. So that's a good idea. Jade's not a stupid person. We've seen that she's very smart. Definitely playing more than one side in this whole story, though, too.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So as Quinn, and this is again where we're seeing that lack of control, that whole thing. Quinn has one of his spells where he starts getting a headache and he can't focus. And I thought it was interesting that as Lydia's leading him away, he leans over to Jade and says, "Lead them."
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's kind of that stab to Lydia that, you're going to go take care of me, but I trust her to lead my people, to lead my soldiers. So I thought that was interesting, don't you think?
Yeah. No, it was. I mean, it was definitely like a favor toward her. Like him saying, "I trust you to get this done. Just do it."
Yep, and I think that definitely plays into what happens later in the episode. So, needless to say, certain people do not escape unscathed from this episode. So, so Sonny and MK, they talk about Azra, and then the widow and Tilda are also talking about the book and the boy. And Tilda wants to know what's going on with MK so that she can help him, not so she can turn him over to the widow. The widow wants to know because she wants to catch him. But it's good that Tilda is sly enough to keep a secret from her mother, even though her mom kind of suspects. I think with the whole thing with her and MK kissing at the one point. So we'll see. It was interesting too, though. Waldo seemed to be a very Waldo's the guy in the wheelchair. That was Sonny's. That Colt was, or Sonny was his Colt. He seemed to be a very loyal guy, but we see through when Ryder comes and talks to him that he's not. I mean, he's definitely, unless he's just smart enough to play with Ryder, to try to figure out what's going on there too. We don't know exactly what's going on, but he does say to him, let's see, what did he say? Oh, Ryder says to him, I wanted to know if things changed around, would I have your support? But changed around here, I guess is what he says.
Right.
And Waldo basically tells him that he's on the winning side.
Right.
Not that he's on any one side in particular. He's on the winning side. So he tells Ryder to go talk to his grandpa, the preacher. And that's kind of interesting. The preacher is played by Lance Henriksen.
Right. And that's his mother's mom, not Quinn's mom.
Right.
Not Quinn's dad, his mother's dad.
Yeah. Well, we know Quinn's mom and dad are dead. They were cogs and they were killed. Right. So yeah, it's Lydia's father. So Sonny and MK are heading toward the widow. They find that whole field of traps. So that was kind of cool. All those bear traps that are out.
Yep.
And Sonny kicks that tree and knocks all those nuts down and sets off all those traps. Of course, then the other clipper gets caught in the trap and just about busts his leg off. That's awful.
Yeah, that was gross.
Yeah.
So everything.
Woo! Oh, that was pretty bad. Then Sonny's like, bite on this, and he snaps it back in place.
Yeah, you're like, oh.
That had to hurt. So then Jade is out in the fields teaching the clippers how to do what they need to do, basically just gently cutting the poppy in order to help it to milk it,
right,
and help them to grow better. And Lydia comes out amazingly and offers to help. And Jade even says, "I know you've never worked a day in your life, but later on, like, just rub it in a little bit, why don't you?" But it's interesting because then afterwards, Lydia says, "I really admire those cogs for the work that they've done. I mean, that they're obviously hard workers in order to put up with this every day." So interesting.
The whole thing of if you do somebody's job, you have a better appreciation for what they go through.
Oh yeah, for sure. So then we have the Baron and we have Quinn and Vale kind of duking it out mentally duking it out in a way, as she starts his first treatments, his first set of chemotherapy or whatever, herbal therapy. Definitely some nasty stuff that she's running through his veins, but he knows, he's ready for it, and maybe it'll help, maybe it won't. But it was interesting that he says, he kind of is pushing her, like, all you have to do is just turn that knob and you could kill me
Mm-hmm.
and nobody would know. And she's like, but I won't. Then and he's like, just ask the question you're dying to ask. Why did I kill your parents, or why did I have your parents killed? And
Right.
I think it's interesting that he doesn't lie to her, but he definitely doesn't tell her the whole truth. That it wasn't my blade that killed your parents. It wasn't. He took Sonny's sword and he went and
Right.
killed him. And if you didn't watch that, was that second episode or first episode? I think that was first episode.
I think it was second.
Okay, so if you didn't watch that, then you wouldn't have seen that. The fact that he took Sonny's sword, went in, he asked Sonny to do it, and Sonny's like, I can't. And he takes Sonny's sword, goes in and kills him. He comes back out, cleans the sword, hands it to him, says, as far as I'm concerned, you killed them.
Right.
So it's interesting. So now we have the preacher. Okay, the preacher is our first new character introduced in a while. I think last episode we've had kind of a new character every episode. The second episode we had Waldo. Third episode we had Jacoby. Fourth episode fourth episode was Jacoby, wasn't it?
Zephyr was third episode.
Yeah, no,
Fourth.
Fourth, yep. And then along with Jacoby, we had the River King at the end.
Yep.
So there's been new characters introduced, but just not as much. I mean, our world is expanding, very slowly. So it's interesting. They've definitely got a long-term plan for this story, and it's good. So the preacher is played by Lance Henriksen. If you don't know who he is by name, maybe you'd remember him as Bishop from the Alien movies. Or what else did he play in?
Millennium.
Millennium, that's right. He was Frank.
Yeah,
right?
Great in the late 90s there.
Yeah, it was a good series. Actually, they had a comic miniseries that came out, kind of crossing over with X-Files here in just recently. So it was pretty good, bringing him back into the current time. So that was cool. So he's a preacher. Ryder shows up, shows him the amulet, and he definitely recognizes it, and he knows what it is. He tells him, though, that it's Azra. It's a myth. It's just some place that people made up in order to feel better. What's that?
Yeah, it's something for the cogs. It's a place for the cogs to dream about a better place.
Yep. So that was interesting. He talks about kind of what he preaches, and he preaches salvation through acceptance.
Dun dun dun.
I was like, that's interesting. And they make little totems and they smash them in order to get their blessings or whatever. It's kind of weird. But he does, and Ryder says, Mother still practices. I've seen her totems in her room and that kind of stuff.
Right.
So after Ryder leaves, kind of not getting what he feels like he needed to get, that last exchange between the preacher and the other guy was very telling. The preacher knows what's going on.
Oh yeah.
And he says, there's another dark one, and he needs to be cleansed.
Right.
What does it say? Go tell the other abbots?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go tell the abbots. So are the abbots like his assassins, So
Or is he also an abbot?
Maybe.
Multiple little cells of this religion or whatever,
It could be.
In each barony or whatever.
Could be. It's an interesting. It's definitely an interesting addition, and we only have one more episode this season, so we'll just have to see how this all. It'll all culminate in some big thing, and 2 questions will be answered, and 500 more questions will be asked. It's just the way it goes, and hopefully we have a second season to answer the rest of those questions. So then we get into the whole thing with MK and Matilda. They meet at night. She basically tells him about her talk with the widow, and he says we can run away together. And Sonny shows up and says, "No, you can't."
Right.
He doesn't say that, but he does knock her over the head, catch her. So now they got Tilda tied up, and they're getting ready to torture her. The other Colt, I don't know that his name really matters, because if we just get to know him, he just gets to die. So
yeah.
But yeah, there's basically a fight. MK cuts himself with the sword, turns black-eyed and crazy, and blasts the door off the hinges. I mean, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was.
Knocks that Colt back onto the spikes and kills him. And then Sonny shows up, and there's kind of a little bit of exchange there. Tilda gets away.
Widow gets away.
Widow gets away, even though Sonny almost had her again. Like Quinn almost had her before. Sonny almost had her this time. In fact, Sonny got her a nice slash on the side there. I thought for sure she was going down, but then I was like, no, they've set this character up to be an ongoing kind of character, so I can't see them getting rid of her yet. But yeah, that was good. And it was a cool fight up and down the hallway and even in the tight spaces, especially her little 1 foot back on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And then she like pushes off with the other foot and runs up the wall. I mean, physically impossible, but still pretty cool. So
all in, very high heels.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It was interesting then too because, I kind of jumped ahead, didn't I? Anyway, you got Jade and Lydia, and I kind of felt like, it's a pun, but they have a blossoming partnership in a way because they work together in the fields and
right.
And then the the widow finds that scrap, and so that's why she goes to hunt down Tilda, and that's why they end up getting the fight with Sonny and all them. But Jade brings soup to Quinn to kind of care for him,
right?
And he reminisces about the first time he ever saw her and how she brought him soup and blah blah blah, and then she collapses foaming on the floor, which I was like, how did this happen?
Yeah, she didn't even eat any of the soup.
Right. So that was kind of interesting. I didn't know what happened exactly to do that, but we know that the previous handmaid also, or previous wife Beatrice had been killed, mysteriously died when Lydia became the second wife. So maybe it's just her way of taking out Jade. I kind of like Jade, so I'm hoping they don't really kill her off.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But yeah, that final showdown was a cool fight. And the big shocker at the end of the show, if you don't want to hear it, plug your ears now.
Yep. Spoiler time.
Yep. As everybody is moving out, there's Quinn behind the gate, and he saw the whole thing. Yep. So he knows about MK. And that's like, oh, okay, what's going to happen now?
Now we're all in trouble.
Yep. So, pretty cool, but definitely a good show. Again, actors and actresses, great stuff. The writing is solid. I haven't once been watching this and been like, this is just stupid. Why would they say that? All the interactions are really well put together. The choreography for the fighting, I mean, I'm still amazed at that. It's really some of the best fighting I've seen on TV.
Yeah, and it looks beautiful. It's not, sometimes you have fight scenes where they have to speed up certain scenes to make it look right or whatever. All these look so fluid. I mean, yeah, for sure. Really, really cool. So I'll keep watching. One more episode this season. We'll see how it wraps up. That'll be Sunday night. We'll try to get that show right up Sunday night, right? Yeah.
Okay. Doesn't always work out, but we'll try. So we'll have that finale done, and then we'll have to find some new shows to talk about. So stay tuned. We've got another one coming up soon, as the first episode of The Expanse was out last night. We'll do a review of that show. Pretty cool stuff. And then what else is coming? The Colony, right?
Yeah, The Colony and
something else.
Something else, but we'll figure it out.
So, and we're talking about maybe doing Flash, Arrow, DC Legends of Tomorrow as like one show once a week. So stay tuned for that.
Yep.
Definitely ask for your like, share, subscribe, all that cool stuff. Let us know what you like about the show, what you don't like about the show. I've seen a lot of hatred towards the show from people who are Walking Dead.
Into the Badlands. He's talking about Into the Badlands.
Oh, I'm sorry, Into the Badlands. I'm back.
Badlands.
Not our show. Okay. Into the Badlands. Hey, even
like who's hitting us, man?
Even hatred is people watching the show. So I'd be happy if anybody was talking about us at all.
Man, no. Me all nervous, freaking out. I was like, dang.
People are completely indifferent about our show. No, Into the Badlands. I've heard a lot of hatred towards Into the Badlands from people who are Walking Dead fans who feel like AMC did a bad thing by forcing them to watch this show, and they're not even going to watch it just out of principle. And all I can say to that is, you guys suck because you're missing out on an awesome, awesome show.
Right. Or if you're mad at them for that, then you've never been a business owner.
Yeah, I mean, then you should be mad at Target for advertising during your favorite show.
Right.
Or, mad at anybody. I mean, you should be mad at your cable provider who makes you buy a DVR so you can fast forward through those commercials, So,
How dare they?
or the comic book company that makes you have to flip past stupid ads. Anyway.
At least they don't take half the page anymore.
True. Well, not anymore. They may be doing that again, but yeah, I think they kind of heard that they didn't, that didn't go over very well.
Didn't stop.
No.
All right.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Have a good one.
Talk to you later.